Hi, this is Toni, the Compassionate Investor, and we are here talking about my transitional housing journey. And specifically, I am here with Ben Dow, which is one of my good friends here in St. Louis. We're going to get right into the nitty-gritty, talking about transitional housing, my journey, and some questions he might have related to it. So welcome to the show, Ben.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. So any burning questions you got about this space that you think about?
Yeah, it's a different niche that I've never heard of. So I'm just wondering, like, what are some of the advantages and why would a rental property investor consider this model?
So we already know investors like what? They like to make money, right? And at the end of the day, you can maximize your rents significantly in this space. I think that the way I try to put it in perspective, most people who have just a basic single family home where they might make a profit $200, $300, $400. Isn't that roughly about what they make after they pay their mortgage and all those other things? We can maximize that. And depending on how you niche it, if you're in a home that has 5, 6, 7 rooms and you make sure you're zoned properly, those are ways you can maximize your rents because you're collecting for each unit. I like each bedroom, correct. I call them units, a bedroom, because where you might have 5 bedrooms, those are 5 units. So you're going to be able to make anywhere from 5, 6, 7. I've seen as high as almost $1,000 a room that you can make depending on the population that you serve and depending on what other grants and things like that are available.
How do you actually tap into the population and actually get tenants? Like, it just seems like, where do you even start to find this tenant base?
So this has been a lot of trial and error at first because I used to market back the old school way where we used to have those flyers and you pull those little stickers off of it if you're looking for housing. That's how you do it, like if you're doing a boarding house, right? You don't have to do that now in transitional housing because you're building relationships. So as I build relationships, I really rely a lot on my referral partners because I partner with agencies and I call them my referral partners. So I really make sure that whatever it is that we do, that we are working specifically toward meeting what their needs are. So I actually get it that way versus...
So you would, instead of just saying house for rent, you go to the actual agency and ask them, is there anybody in need? Is that what you...
Yeah, that's basically how I do it. Now, there is a process to that because I don't want you to think you just go knock on an agency's door and say, I got housing. It doesn't work like that because they don't know you. They don't know who you are. They don't know why you're coming. They don't know if you're trying to, come in and, just make money off of their population. Like, they're very protective. So it's all about building relationships. So whenever I get in, I try to build relationships first. That's why you guys have heard me say, I always like to get in and meet the people in my COC, my local COC, the continuum of care. Because when you do that and you go in there, how can I be of service? You don't go in there passing out cards like, and I'm just going to say, Ben, don't do that.
There's the right way to do it.
Exactly. There's a process because I've seen people come in and I think I might have been a little green doing that at first because people aren't receptive to you just passing out your cards saying, I got a house for rent. That's not what yes, you want to do it, but you just have to learn how to tactfully do that.
Gotcha. So what type of investors do you see that actually do this from the standard rental property investor like myself? Like, who actually says, yes, I want to do transitional housing?
I honestly think it's the people who, like, if you do Section 8 housing, you probably could do this because you clearly see that there's a need for affordable housing. You might not have mastered this particular area. Some people are afraid to mess with it, but they are the ones who are most receptive. People who have these luxury homes out in, Kirkwood and Wentzville, they're not so much my niche because they are all about, I want the biggest property to give me the biggest bang for my buck. They don't care so much about the compassionate side of what is needed in our community. And we do need more affordable housing. So people who sort of find themselves doing that are the best type of investor I like to work with.
Yeah, as a landlord and a manager, you think about how much maintenance is a tenant going to be, right? And this is a different tenant base. You're talking about second chance individuals, individuals out of incarceration. What are some of the things that we got to be prepared for in managing tenants like this?
So you need to probably make sure you are a very strong communicator first, because, and not just a strong communicator, but where you have some type of training around crisis intervention or recognizing things. Because think about it, individuals who are coming out of incarceration are coming from a completely different background, right? And knowing how to communicate to individuals like that is critical, because you could come the wrong way at the wrong time that could turn sideways really fast. Now, I'm not trying to scare you, but you have to understand the population that you're serving. So when you're dealing with individuals, let's say, who are coming out of incarceration, you can't just be a person who's heartless and just be like hard, because they've been treated that way for the entire time that they were incarcerated. So when they come out, you have to have a compassionate heart and be able to communicate in a way where you can relate to them. So I would say that that is first and foremost as you look at the things you need to look into, how to do this. That is the biggest part. And then to, you know, work and partner with somebody else who might have that skill set, like working with an agency. Like, if I had to say, when you're working with people who are coming out of incarceration, working very closely with that probation or parole officer is critical. So you're building a three-way communication so that you are filling the gaps where you might be lacking, because it's all about making sure that they can be successful when they come out. So I know you got a burning question, Ben, and I know it's coming, so give it to me.
Numbers, baby, numbers. What's the return on this? Can you give me an idea about how much this house was and how much do you rent out per room? So us as investors can kind of know what we're getting into.
Okay, so this particular property here, I got on the tax sale, because I told you that's how I really maximized getting things as low as I could. I think we got this one at $15,000. I think.
15,000?
I know, right? Crazy. And wait, can I tell you what it's worth today?
Okay.
It's worth about $200,000, $250,000 right now. So we literally went maximized crazy, right? In the right area, found the right property to get. So coming in $15,000, I think.
Did you have to fix it up?
Oh yeah, I probably put $10,000 in it. Now you are going to have to fix up anything you get in, even if it's just to build out the model. So even if you got a house that was ready to go, you still have to make it conducive for transitional housing, because there's specific things that we do to add to the property to make it ready for and suited for that type of housing.
Okay.
So that's the first part. So, and in the rooms, so it is grown, because for two things. Number one, we were doing like $500 a month in a room, so we got 6. So at $3,000 a month plus, and I always like to say my overhead's like $1,000. Typically a house, I take $1,000 off for overhead, so that still leaves a $2,000 profit for just a basic $500 a month model. But we're not in that world no more. We're actually building on that model. So we've gone from 500 to then 550 to now we get as high as 1350 depending on who we place in this house.
1350 for one room?
For one room.
Times 6?
Times 6.
So let's just let's just say that's $7,000 for a $50,000 investment? $7,000 a month?
Yeah. So, and the way in which I've been able to do that, because I'm now contracted with the state to do. Now, this whole property, I can make all of that because of another layer that this house has. Because not only can I cater to individuals who are coming out of incarceration, but I specifically can house individuals who have to register as sex offenders in this property, which, if I had to say, is my sweet spot. That is like everything I buy is around that realm, because at the end of the day, I like staying full. And I'm always full. I'm sitting right now on a wait list, 30 plus every month of this type of housing that's needed.
So you said your favorite niche is incarceration and sexual offenders?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why is that?
So several reasons why. First of all, and I was going to say, you have to get past your own thoughts related to that population. And it took me about that much time to get past it myself. I don't want you to think I didn't pause. I did pause, because I have a young child. At the time when we start catering to that population, Tyler was like 3. So Tyler couldn't come around the property because they're not allowed to be around children. I had to think twice, but I had an experience with a young man who we had him in our housing, and I'm telling you, no lie, he had been out of jail for 20 plus years. And to the day, and I still talk about him all the time, he's not with us anymore, staying in the same housing, but he cried all the time because of what he did 20 years ago. And remember, hurt people hurt people. I'm not condoning anything that they did, but we all do wrong. We might not have done that, but we all do wrong. He served his time, he got out. Why is he not worthy of housing? He did exactly what he was supposed to. He served his time. Now for the rest of his life, he has to wear a scarlet letter on his chest saying, I'm a sex offender, for the rest of his life. And he still cries about that 20 years later after incarceration. So I say, I pause, but then the need, what people need, they need housing too. Because if they don't have housing, they go back to jail. If they do not register, they go back to jail. So that's why my heart started growing for that population. I don't condone what they did, but I can tell you my heart went out to them. And I'm going to tell you this, they are the most compliant population to work with. Why do you think that is?
Because if they mess up one time, then they going back?
And what do you think they endured while they were incarcerated?
They probably got picked on the most, because I know people in jail, like the inmates, will pick on that population the most, right?
Yeah.
Sexual offenders.
If you mess with children, you mess with elderly people, they will come for you. And if you can imagine, if you had done something wrong that you might not even remember that you did, or you just did it just stupidly, and you were then incarcerated with 10 years of abuse, because that's what they're abused for the duration that they're there, and they have to try to create alliances while they're living that experience. So when they get out, they want to do everything they can never to go back. So that's why I say they are the most compliant population to work with, the most humble population to work with. And if I can create housing to meet their need, why would I not do that? Because I'm the compassionate investor. I have a heart for helping people, and they are, out of all populations, one of the hardest populations to serve.
Another question I have is, how do you get one of these actually like up to code, up to zone? Is there a zoning? Do you have to get a certificate from the city? What is that?
So what we'll probably do on that one, because it is a very detailed process, because I don't want to ever not give you enough time to understand that one, but I will say, when you get a property, no matter where you are, you need to follow whatever the zoning compliance is in those particular areas and make sure you're compliant. And that's what we do whenever we came in. Just initially when we came in, because we're drug-free, alcohol-free, so we were able to set ourselves up as a drug-free, sober living recovery property, which allowed for us to be able to have the covering that we needed to be able to house individuals who are dealing with addiction, dealing with staying in recovery, and also who come out of incarceration. So that was a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
I will probably...
We'll do that again. We'll do another segment on it.
Yeah, we'll do another episode. We could spend an entire episode, maybe part 2 and part 3, on how that works, because I want to make sure you have all the information you need to be successful to get into this space. So Ben, I want to thank you for taking the time out, for letting us get into some nitty gritty. I want to also cater to those of you who are here, who are interested in this space. Come find me and ask questions as you are listening to this particular segment as we talk about transitional housing and my journey. And we'll be back in just a moment.